Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I'm happy to notice that the presentation has been translated. I have to confess I don't understand a word what is on the screen now. But ladies and gentlemen, and especially our dear customers in leasing, colleagues in the leasing, it's a great honor to participate this 20th anniversary of the Polish leasing industry. I like to thank Mr. Andrzej Krzeczminski, President of EFL and member of the Leaseurope board, of a kind invitation to come here and join this party. Really a congratulations of 20 years for the whole industry here. I think that the Polish leasing industry is clearly demonstrating what is the impact of the leasing industry to the whole economy. Leasing industry is the industry taking care that the entrepreneurs are able to grow, SMEs have their equipment and machines rolling on the street, doing the business every day. This is really an engine for the economic growth, and I think that in the Polish economy that is really well demonstrated during the past 20 years. So my congratulations on behalf of Leaseurope and the Leaseurope board for the whole industry here. I like to draw you through a couple of slides about the general overview of a leasing business in Europe currently, where we are. To start with a little bit the key drivers of the business and the environment where we are currently. I will touch briefly the 4 areas, starting from the recovery, or if there is a recovery. First of all, I know that Poland has been a miracle economy because this has been almost impacted by the recession that has been in the rest of Europe. The figures, they have been so far good, so maybe the recession is not at all known by you, but I can tell you in the rest of Europe it is very well known. We have been expecting the recovery and looking at the Leaseurope statistics from the past years. So 2009 was a big collapse in the new volumes in equipment and real estate leasing and in the total new sales volumes. There was a real recovery already in 2010 figures. We started to see that this business is coming back and the volumes are really increasing. Looking at generally the Central and Eastern European countries, the growth in 2010 ended up to 2.77%. So we can say that the recovery has sort of started, and again, looking at the last year and the statistics per country, Poland was one of the leading countries in the new contribution or new sales in leasing. Again, a great evidence that this country has really went through the recession in a good way. Then looking at the leasing penetration, as I said, leasing is really a driver for the economical growth in Europe. But what we have seen during these past 2 years is that the leasing penetration has decreased in the European level. One of the reasons is that the government side has been investing more than the private sector, and so far the governments, they haven't been the big users of the leasing. I see that is a big opportunity also going forward to take care that the public sector is starting to use more leasing. Looking at the development this year and the Leaseurope Business Confidence Survey, actually just before the summer, there was a great belief that the growth will continue in the new volumes. So the increase was expected to be in a level of 7.4% in the second half, for the second half of this year. And you can see that there was a couple of companies really believing that the increase of new volumes will be even over 20%. And this was before the summer. At the same time, we have seen that the profitability is really improving. So during the first quarter of this year, there was over 50% increase in operating profit for the leasing business in Europe, and also in the second quarter, 28%. Actually, 72% of the companies, they are still believing that the profitability is increasing during the second half of this year. Looking at the economical development and what are the news coming from USA, what is the consumers and industry confidence in Europe currently, of course you can have a question mark. Are we too optimistic in this industry looking at the second half of the year? Definitely there will be changes in the market and it's not totally outruled that there will be a strong slowdown in economical development in the whole Europe, and of course that could cause some changes in these estimates that I have here. The second driver that we are seeing in the European market, and that is touching also our business, is the sovereign debt problems. There are several countries that are over debt, that have problems now paying back to the banks and to the investors. And of course this is increasing the uncertainty in the market, especially in the banking market. This is just demonstrating the difference of the government bond spreads to almost risk-free German government bond. Italy is actually missing from this picture, but the latest news again are telling that those interest rates, they are booming up. So we have a problem, and that of course means that also the finance industry sector has to be prepared that the banking sector will not be that strong in the coming years in the lending business. One of the specific things for the leasing business that we have been working with, and especially Leaseurope, is the new lease accounting. IFRS, the International Financial Standard Board, is working with the new lease accounting regulation with an idea that the listed companies actually should capitalize all the leasing agreements to the balance sheet. This project has been going on for a while, several years actually, and just before the end of last year, IASB and also the US FASB, they published the exposure draft of a new standard. Actually, for the first time, IASB received over 800 comment letters on this exposure draft. Most of them negative by the two reasons. The biggest reason that this is really increasing the complexity for the leasing, for the lessees, for the customers, and then there was a draft that this is having a balance sheet effect also for the leasing companies. Throughout the year, there has been a continuous dialogue between the Leaseurope and IASB and FASB. Several contacts has been taken also to the European Commission, and finally, just before the summer, EFRAG, that is the final decision gate in Europe for the new standards, had a very thorough hearing throughout Europe, and after that, actually, they announced a kind of instruction that there is a need to reconsider the exposure draft. Now, the latest news are that there will be a new exposure draft. It will be pretty much in the direction that the leasing industry is hoping. We are moving to a more simplified standard. We are taking out the potential pain in the leasing company balance sheets, and we believe that this is leading into much better outcome. The implementation of a new standard will not be earlier than 2015-2016, so there will be also time to adapt the changes. Finally, looking at the changes, Basel III, the new banking regulation is coming. It's a fundamental change for the whole banking industry. Looking at the European leasing business, 18 of the 20 biggest leasing companies, they are bank-owned companies. So what happens in the financial sector, what happens in the banking sector will definitely have an impact also to the leasing business. The Basel III regulation is taking new kind of requirements for the equity. There will be much higher demand for the bank equity, especially core Tier 1 equity. Bigger European banks have to have one core capital more than 10% after the transition period. Of course, that is increasing the costs in the bank. Secondly, it is demanded that the bank should carry 30 days liquidity buffer in order to cover all the withdrawals of the deposits and limits, etc. And on top of that, there is a match funding requirement, meaning that banks should fund themselves so that all the loans with a maturity over 12 months are also funded over 12 months. All these, they are increasing a lot the cost for the banking sector, and at the same time they are increasing the demand for the capital and equity of the banking. Outcome is that the profitability of the banking sector is decreasing by all these changes. The latest discussion around the Basel Committee is that if these regulations are too strict, are there areas where actually they should reconsider, maybe to postpone of some of the regulation or soften them. That is really the latest news. But the pressure where we are and what is coming also to the leasing industry is that definitely in the coming years we have to take care of the profitability. We have to be profitable enough among the banking industry, and we have to be able to take care of the funding sources in order to take care that we are able to lend and lease to our customers. Of course, this is a challenge. On the other side, I see that this is really an opportunity. These changes in the market, they are increasing the demand for the innovation in the leasing business. We have to think differently. We have to listen to our customers. We have to be able to be in the market in a flexible and convenient way with the leasing solutions when they are needed, and take care that our funding and our capital base in the future is solid enough to live according to the new standards, especially within the banking industry. On behalf of the leasing industry and Leaseurope board, I have a strong belief that this industry will be able to survive, but of course the thing is that there will be winners, there will be losers. I believe that those who are closer to customers, who are more innovative, are those who are going to win. Very briefly about the leasing market and the finance market in general in Europe. Thank you.